to restrict my knowledge to that game.
Yep.
Being the draw involving Nidus.
Okay.
That's game 3. But this is game 1, ladies and gents. Hello and welcome back. You're watching MajorLeagueGaming.com, twitch.tv/MLGSC2, MLG's coverage of IEM New York City. This is an elimination match. The loser will be out of IEM New York City. Both of these players have traveled a long way to adventure forth to the city that never sleeps. And now they find themselves on the verge of elimination. Who's going to take it in the bottom right-hand location of Akalon Waste? I present to you your Red Zerg player representing Team Liquid and hailing from Germany. Make some noise in the chat. He is TLO. Of course, his opponent in the bottom left-hand location, your blue Protoss player who took out life in game 1 of their contest in the first match of the day, ended up falling 2 in a row and being dropped down to this point. Can he take out the hero from Germany and extend his life in this tournament, or will he be eliminated from IEM New York City? He's your blue Protoss player from KT roster. He is Zest.
TLO going for the spawn and pull force. Of course, even if he was planning to go hatchery first, as soon as his Overlord saw the probe scout from Zest, knowing it'd be unlikely to put down the hatchery with ease, goes to a more safer opening with spawn and pull first. Zest, on the other hand, we saw in his match against Life, he doesn't really like the gateway expand so much. He loves to just go straight to that Nexus, and that's what he's doing against TLO as well.
Probe trying to be annoying. We saw Zest do this against Life.
He was good at it too, man.
And he was so effective. Look at that hexagonal figure he just made.
That was, I think that was a lot more points
right.
than hexagon.
I'm bad at counting.
It was maybe 4 hexagons overlaid and twisted.
I think it was a 3D hexagon.
A 3D. You know what?
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I could actually see that.
Like a soccer ball.
If you collapse a 3D figure onto a 2D plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
That's what he was going for, at least.
Yeah.
TLO able to get the hatchery down though.
Now the question is, what's the actual name of the 3D hexagon? It has a name.
Ooh.
I just don't know it. Like a tetrahedron.
A hexazoid?
Could be.
No. I don't know. I'm sure someone in the chat will let us know eventually. Okay, so Akalon Waste is the map. Very macro-oriented map. Seen some epic PVZs in the past. One that I think of automatically is Stefano versus Baby Knight from WCS a while ago.
I love
involving crazy tactics and very long game.
I love the way TLO escorts the drone with Zerglings. Like, one was in front of it, one was back. It looked just like little, you know, like a squad car in front and back of the valuable, the MVP. Making sure there's no probe there or cannons being built.
It's important.
Very diligent with his scouting as well. Just making sure there's nothing going on here. Look at these 2 Zerglings splitting up, covering every single location with an attack move.
TLO is serious. He is serious right now. He's not going to take any shortcuts. Both these players know the situation. If they lose, they are out. Again, Zest came all the way from Korea. TLO came all the way from Germany.
And this is a big proving ground for Zest. Zest has proved himself time and time again in the Pro League, time and time again in a lot of the other team aspects in Korea. But as far as an individual tournament, and especially as far as a tournament in the international eyeballs to a huge extent, he hasn't quite proved himself yet. So for him, it's you know, this is a huge opportunity to say, I'm not just a guy who carries a team. I'm a guy who can actually just be a star just by myself. Just kind of step out and be, because right now, if you think about KT roster, who do you think of?
Flash?
Yeah, exactly. But if Zest wins this event and then wins another one, all of a sudden, KT roster's figurehead may not be Flash anymore. And obviously, it's not that he...
Flash is in this tournament, too.
He is. He is. I'm sure Flash is actually watching this game. Of course, Flash will be playing later today. It's extremely... Actually, we're actually casting this game. I think that's like our it's about an hour or two. We're grabbing Flash's game against... No, we're not. Sorry, we're not. We're only going to cast them if he loses. We're actually casting Curious versus Don right here for that matchup. But anyways, over here we do have the Stargate opening from Zest. It's the same opening he's gone for every single game against Life. He went for the fast expansion into Stargate, into 3 gates Robo. Like, he just loves super standard Protoss play. Of course, TLO has scouted this out by now. Hopefully TLO has talked to some people, or at least has studied Zest games. Zest is not a guy to do a lot of crazy builds. He's like, He's like the super Korean guy who's just going to do what he does, and he's going to do it well. And TLO might be prepared for that. Maybe he'll do a really gritty opening to try to take advantage of the fact that Zest kind of plays a little passively for the first couple minutes.
Well, that's the only times the spores too, because that was something really interesting that Life did.
Oh, it's so perfect.
Yeah, just the perfect timing. He knows exactly when to place those down. Of course, again, every single mineral is going to be so important in this game, so you can add on more and more drones. This part of the game is all about Zerg seeing how many drones they can squeeze out while staying safe from the aggression from the Protoss player. So, Zest going for relatively mild Phoenix play. He's probably going to get up to 4 to 5 Phoenixes. Going to try to pick off drones, pick off queens. Looks like behind this might be setting up for a third base. Robo on the way, just like games in the past. Still making those probes. Keep an eye on it. Zest is very flexible with these builds.
He is. He can go any way he wants. He tends to prefer to third base, but what he does is use the Phoenix to scout his opponent and decide, should I crank out Immortals? Should I go straight to Colossi? Should I delay the third? Should I take it as soon as possible? And your point about the spore timing and everything Life did so perfectly macro-wise actually ties into the point we're talking about. I don't think TLO will go for those Hydra speeding attacks that Life did, just because to make those work, you literally have to have done it a billion times, and you have to like every 5-10 minerals counts, because you add that up a couple times, all of a sudden you're 2 Hydras less. And all those games that Life won against Zest, if he had like 2 less Hydras, he wouldn't have won. It's literally that narrow of a window. Everything has to be so 100% perfect throughout the first 10 minutes of the game. In fact, we're seeing TLO already differentiate himself, going straight to Infestation Pit and upgrading melee weapons and Carapace armor.
Is he skipping Roachhorn?
He is skipping Roachhorn, which I actually love against Zest. Zest is not a guy you need to get a Roachhorn against. See in the structures tab, no Roachhorn has been constructed. Ooh. Queen wasn't quite close enough to the spore, and the Phoenix were able to take it out with minimal damage, taking out some more drones as well. Zest so effective with those Phoenixes.
Also getting down that Nexus, and this is, like, if we remember the games that Zest played against Life, like, we talked about this a little bit, the map differentiation, it's much easier to take a third on this map than those other maps that we saw against Life. And that was, like, the main issue Zest was having, so... And
that was why I think when they did the veto process, Life was vetoing maps like Akalon Waste, because he wanted to do the very aggressive style of Zerg. TLO, on the other hand, he's going straight to Hive at 10:30.
Is this an Ultraless rush?
I think it's Ultraless, Hydraless, maybe he might even add in... Yeah, I think it's just going to be Ultras and Hydras for the most part. I would like to see him take a 4th hatchery fairly soon. Okay, I'm like, round's downtown. Round now is the time he's going to take that 4th hatchery. Now he's going for it. Adding a few infestors as well. So he may not get Ultra to super fast. It depends on what he sees Zest doing. For example, if he sees a lack of Immortals, he'll go straight to Ultras, because they're actually really good against Colossi. They're really good against pretty much every gateway unit. You just have to be careful for Immortals. And you also be careful if the Protoss has too many units. You have to make sure you can match them in numbers.
Phoenix has taken out a stray queen that was going out for a stroll, trying to feed her little creep tumors.
Dangerous to go on a stroll, man.
Yeah, very dangerous, especially with Phoenixes having such a great presence. Infestor is out. One of the struggles. Oh, okay, didn't have Patching Glance.
Yeah.
Look at that, a perfect game so far.
Yeah, Zest is just, I mean, look how much damage he's done with just these Phoenixes. And it's even more than this, because he's forced some spores out as well. And remember, every time he kills a queen, he's getting rid of a larva inject as well, or creed spread. Every time he kills a drone, that's mining loss in addition to the actual resources loss. So Zest, super effective with these Phoenixes, really getting a lot of damage done. Another queen being taken out here.
Burrow on the way from TLO as well. I was wondering about that because he made those infestors, so that makes a lot of sense, burrowing those guys and trying to see what kind of sneaky damage you can get done. It's also something he didn't get in that game against Hyun. Maybe we're getting that a little bit.
I really like actually how he didn't get Patching Glance here, because he only got 3 infestors.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I don't think he's not going to mass infestors. He just wants a couple so you can't run from the Ultras. That's all he's getting, just a few to make sure the Ultras can connect. And if you're only getting 3 infestors, the Patching Glance costs as much as an additional infestor. It's better to have 3 than 2 in Patching Glance. Or it's better to have, if you wanted to get, once you start getting like 4 or 5 or 6, that's when you're like, well, I'd actually have more energy using the Patching Glance. But with 3s at that point where, you're getting 75 additional energy, but would you rather the third that starts at 50 than accumulates even beyond that. So I kind of like the way he's doing this.
Okay, we got Blink finishing up for Zest, a very cookie-cutter type upgrade to have at this point in the game. It's not like he's looking to go for a mega push, but just nice to have that on the field. Also Storm on the way as well, which is great against heavy Zergling play. Obviously also great against Infestors. great against Vipers, but we also have 5 Ultras in production from TLO, and now we're going to start to see these guys really spread across the map. Zest loves these counterattacks with Zealots. He's so good about it, and he's always going to be attacking 2 places at once, showing some presence in the middle of the map here with some Colossi, some Stalkers, some Phoenixes, while counterattacking with Zealots across the map on the right-hand side.
Oh, TLO losing a hatchery over there. Zest getting some damage done. Of course, right now Zest, like we talked about, always in 2 places at once.
Yep.
Meanwhile, these Zealots are being taken out, but his main army here, actually the Ultras.
That's a lot
do not like that.
That's a lot of Zealots. That's a lot of resources that Zest spent on that.
It is. You know, Zest is burning a lot of minerals, and what he's doing is he's trying to keep TLO busy because he wants to get a 3rd base up, and he wants to get a high gas army. His main army wants to be primarily gas units. He's identified the build TLO's go, and he's starting to transition to Stargates, but the big question is, can Zest get the 4th base up? That's difficult, because on 3 bases, Protoss can be scary.
Yep.
On 4 is where they can kind of get whatever they want, and Zest wants to be able to build whatever he wants. He wants to be able to harass everywhere he wants.
Terrifying army there.
Yeah, it's a lot of Ultras, a good number of speedings as well. On the other hand, we have Colossi and Storm from Zest, which is, you actually really want both those against Ultras, because the main thing with this army, if you can instantly kill all the speedlings, then the rest of the army will naturally focus down those Ultras very quickly. The speedlings are the guys that actually do sometimes the most damage. So combining Colossi with Storm is super important, because you just really need to focus down those speedlings as fast as possible. Colossi do great, Storm is even better, so having both is super important.
I would love to see Zest perhaps try to set up a mega gateway wall outside of that 3rd base, because when you're dealing with Ultras, it's all about that surface area. If you can get this Zerg army to go down a narrow funnel or go down a narrow pathway, that's when you can set up a concave, kind of receiving them through that pathway, and you can get those convincing, those cost-efficient engagements. But if TLO is able to get a massive spread on the Protoss army and come in from every direction, get those surrounds, it's going to become problematic. So we'll have to see if Zest starts setting up some structures defensively.
Got a couple of cannons here. He does have a wall over here, but you know, TLO might just send a couple units here to try to pull Zest out of position. Of course, Zest always on top of trying to deny future expansions and counterattacking. But the more avenues TLO opens up, the more Zest will have to spread his forces out to defend them all. And you can see he's trying to hope that Zest will abandon the 4th base, maybe can swing in here with this force. Meanwhile, does save that hatchery, but that's going to be a target Zest will look at in the future, as well as maybe using a War Prism to deploy more Zealots in the bottom. Right now, though, Zest wants to focus on getting up an army that can defend the 4th base. That is his priority. TLO is thinking, okay, if I can't break the 4th, what do I do against the 4-base Protoss? Zerg's strength in this situation is text transitions. He's setting himself up with Baning Speed, Overlord Drop, which could be instrumental, as well as, of course, Double Spire's potential air transition later down the road.
Counterattacks happening from both of these players, trying to keep their opponent on as Lings, attempting to squeeze by into the 3rd base. By the way, the creep spread is actually ridiculous at this point. TLO had been doing a great job spreading that across the map, and that's going to make Zest a little bit nervous. Having to venture out on that creep is something you never want to have to do. Some Banelings in production as well from TLO. He actually has a ridiculous amount of Banelings. Yeah,
and you know, those units, of course, that don't add additional supply, it's the same supply as a Speedling. What he can do is he can put those all in Overlords, and we're talking about how quickly the Storm would kill the Speedlings. Well, the Overlords aren't going to die too fast, so if you get all the Banelings inside the Overlords, you drop them on the army, you take out some of the Immortals, you damage the Stalkers, also those Ultras can take out the rest very quickly. Here comes a massive flank from TLO.
Storm's going down, TLO has found a moment, and he's going to pounce. Ultra swooping forward, trying to take down this Protoss army. Zest trying to count backwards, but he doesn't have a lot of surface area to work with. Great Storms onto the Zerglings, and the trade is going to go in the favor of TLO. It looks like perhaps he caught his opponent completely off guard. Most importantly, taking down all of those expensive units. TLO sensed weakness, and then he went for it.
The great flank there was super instrumental, was the fungal on the Immortals and Colossus, so they couldn't kite behind the Stalkers as they're trying to deal with the Ultralists against fungal units, taking them out so quickly. Now, Zest should hold on here for a bit, but remember, TLO has a lot of bases. He's already almost remaxed, but he did use all of his banks. So if Zest can hold the 4th base, he's going to be happy, but TLO may just dive this Nexus here.
Looks like he's going to try to. I don't see any High Templar anywhere. There's 2 Colossi in production, 4 High Templar just now warped in. The Nexus is going to be toast. A lot of Lings on the map here for TLO, which aren't ridiculously cost efficient if there's a lot of Zealots, if there's a lot of High Templar, if there's a lot of Colossi. 2 Colossi in production right now for Zest. So again, He's not out of this game just yet, but TLO definitely going to be happy with how that engagement went in the middle of the map, and he's going to be super excited about being able to deny his opponent's fourth base.
TLO continue to upgrade his air and his range attack. Of course, the range attack is actually pretty important to upgrade, so he can transition to maybe supplement his army with more queens. He can transition to swarm hosts very easily if he thinks that that's the best combination against his opponent. Zest is now on the attack himself. He's got DTs in multiple locations, trying to clear out all the units over here. Meanwhile, War Prism is being activated across the bottom.
This is what Zest is good at.
Yes, the question is does he want to even warp? I mean, obviously there's defense here. I think he's more scouting than harassing, because without the fourth base, he can't really afford to use all the units. And here comes TLO with a lot of speed units coming here. Those could bypass the wall, strike at the third base, while Zest wants to prioritize his forces defending the fourth base. But Zest here is some great harass of his own. 2 Mulas trying to deal with the War Prism.
That's great.
But he may actually get both the 5th and 6th of TLO. The 5th goes down, the 6th, the Spore Color's down.
Gone. And as this is happening, again, he's reestablishing that fourth base. Zest trying to come back in this game, and he's doing a great job of it. That hat-trick going to be taken out. TLO having a tough time dealing with all this DT play. But he's moments away from potentially dropping in his opponent's third or main base with those Zerglings.
I think he's going to try to time an attack on the fourth at the same time as that drops. He's guaranteed to get one of the bases. The DTs are still alive, actually. Okay, TLO has to hunt them down. Where's the detection? He can just
those
run.
DTs are trying to be so still.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're done for.
Realizing that they're dead.
Yep. Meanwhile, more could be deployed any second now. The Mutas gave up, I guess, on chasing this War Prism.
Yeah, down to 5 HP too.
Yeah, the
that
Mutas
could come back to hurt him a little bit.
Mutas were merciful. In fact, that could be the. Oh, actually, there's so many spores here. Most likely.
Wow, TLO,
yeah.
you fancy man.
He knows Zest loves those War Prism shenanigans, and so far there haven't been too many, but mostly because Zest has so much trouble establishing a strong economy. In fact, War Prism just taken out there. Spore Core got to kill a little bit of rubble over there. TLO still doesn't activate these Overlords. I hope he hasn't forgotten about them.
Biding his time for now.
Yeah, continuing to upgrade the Mute list. Could be a possible transition later on.
Zest trying to figure out how to deal with this now. He has to be careful because TLO is kind of trying to draw him to that location because he has an army ready and waiting to pounce if Zest isn't careful. So Zest's going to swing around, stay on his side of his forces, doesn't want to get backsided like he did earlier.
No Storm quite yet on those Templars. Storm would have been great to deal with the Hydras and Banelings. You know, a lot of probes going out to Banelings. They're being stopped, though. I think, can he get the Nexus? That's going to be a question. Meanwhile, TLO activates his other force, attacking the third base, really trying to just trade units off and take down the economy of Zest. But Zest is actually splitting the units up very well. Can he save the Nexus?
He does save the Nexus for now. Another
Ultras gets trapped.
Blocked in by those Zealots.
Wow.
TLO is everywhere, but Zest doing a great job identifying exactly what units his opponent is sending at him and appropriating his units correctly to receive them efficiently.
An absolutely spectacular defense from Zest. TLO, you know, if he activated these speedings, he may have gotten a kill on the Nexus here. Now he's figured out that they're around. Zest has to be careful about the Mutas transition, though. A lot of Mutas on the way, upgrades on the way as well.
So he did make, like, I think 3 Stargates. I think he has 3 Stargates. He made 2
he
Stargates a while ago.
2 or 3, something like that.
So he added those in just in case. The Lings dropping at the third base, and Zest caught completely off guard. And some more Lings going to be dropped at that base.
But look at this. Zest so good at Dark Templar harassing. Absolutely everywhere. Meanwhile, the third base is down. These speedings can be annoying, and Zest has a really hard time warping additional reinforcements. Another attack. Oh, this Nexus cannot go down. He needs to keep this alive. That's his only mining base currently.
And the Muta's about to dive it. Muta's about to dive it to the left.
Oh, yes, they are. They're coming in here.
Oh, my God. He's going to target it down. There is a High Templar that has Storm. The Stalker's going to blink forward. He's going to try to protect it, but no, the Nexus will fall, and the Muta's going to get out of there. TLO going to be fist pumping after that, and a lot of TLO fans as well. 3 Stargates unpowered there by the Zerglings. A perfect pickoff there from TLO, which means no Phoenixes can be made at this moment in time to deal with the amount of Mutas that TLO has. Both these players are everywhere, but Zest just lost his third and his fourth base. He has literally no income right now.
He's mining with 1 probe. He's trying to long distance mine. If he can get enough to build a Nexus, I think he has to go all in now. But remember his Ultralisk.
He's on creep.
Oh no, you do not want to be on creep. Well, you know, okay, here comes. Oh, an Ultralisk flanking from multiple sides.
TLO is on every single side of Zest. He's going to swallow the Protoss army up. Some Archons coming in a little bit later, but TLO up 181 to 118 in supply, and TLO takes game number 1 in this elimination match with poise, with patience, with confidence. Able to take out Zest there in game 1.
You know, I absolutely love the way TLO approached Zest, knowing that, okay, Zest is a guy, he's going to play a very standard game, he's fairly passive in the opening. I'm just going to go tech as hard as possible, you know, prioritize the melee upgrades, go straight for those Ultras, that late game composition, and then just get a lot of bases up. And yes, you let Zest get his 3 bases, but if you don't let him get the 4th, he doesn't have the economy to really power that super late game harass. We saw against like Innovation and Curious, when he gets 4 or 5 bases, he gets almost unstoppable. But on 3, he can't really afford to do too many shenanigans.
It's the nature of Protoss too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you keep your Protoss opponent on 3 bases and you're on 5 bases going to 6 as a Zerg, you're going to be happy as the game goes forward. But guys, we need to move on. This is a best of 3, so Zest is not out of it just yet. The German, the little one, looking really good so far, taking the 1-0 advantage. He's 1 win away from advancing to the final match of his group. Will he stay alive in IEM New York City, or can Zest make a comeback? We're going to find out. Game 2 coming back.